Right now, without knowing it, your brain has quietly decided that the way you see the world is simply how the world is. Not a version of it. Not your version. The actual, real version. Think about the last time you argued with someone and thought, how can this person not see what I see? Are they even paying attention? Maybe it was a family member at dinner. Maybe it was a stranger online. In that moment, it felt obvious that you were right and they were confused. But here's the strange part. They were feeling the exact same thing about you. That's not because one of you is smarter or more honest. It's because every single person alive is running on a private, custom-built model of reality, and no two models match. Here's why that happens, and it starts with something surprisingly simple. You are a collecting machine. From the day you were born, you've been gathering small pieces of experience, one moment at a time. A conversation here, a memory there, a place you grew up, a person who raised you, and your brain quietly stitches all of it together into one thing, your sense of what's true. But you only ever collected a tiny, narrow slice of the world. You were born in one place, in one moment in history, surrounded by one set of people. So the truth you're walking around with was never the full picture. It was just your slice. Neuroscientist David Eagleman, who studies the brain at Stanford, describes it this way. We all live inside our own internal model, and it's the only one we ever get to see directly. We can't peek into someone else's. So without meaning to, we start treating our model like it's the only one that exists. Some of this comes down to biology, not just experience. Two people can look at the exact same object and picture it completely differently on the inside. Imagine someone asks you to picture a red apple sitting on a wooden table. Some people will see that clearly, almost like a photo in their mind. Other people will understand the idea of it. An apple, a table, red wood, without any picture showing up at all. Neither person is wrong. Their brains are just wired differently. And if two people can experience something as simple as picturing an apple in totally different ways, imagine how differently we experience bigger things, like fairness or family or right and wrong. So if everyone's inner world is this different, why does it feel like people split so easily into sides? Us versus them. Our team versus their team. Our beliefs versus their beliefs. This is where it gets interesting, because this pattern isn't random. Our brains are built to sort people into groups almost instantly, an in-group we trust, and an out-group we're cautious of. Scientists believe this goes back to when humans lived in small tribes. You knew your people. Everyone else, the group over the hill, might be a threat. So your brain learned to care more about us and stay guarded around them. That instinct never fully went away. It just changed shape. Today it shows up in our country, our religion, our politics, even our favorite sports team. And here's the part that might surprise you. This grouping instinct doesn't just change how we think about people. It changes how much we actually feel for them. In a brain imaging study run by Eagleman's lab, people watched 6 hands on a screen. One hand at a time would get gently touched with a cotton swab or poked with a needle. While this happened, researchers were watching a part of the brain that lights up when we feel pain, even when we're just watching someone else feel it. But each hand had one label attached to it: Christian, Jewish, Muslim, Hindu, atheist, and so on. When people saw a hand from their own group get poked, that pain response in their brain was strong. When it was a hand from a group they didn't belong to, that same response was noticeably weaker. This pattern showed up across every group tested. It wasn't about any one religion or belief. It was simply about who counted as us and who counted as them. Take that a step further, and you can start to see how bigger conflicts happen. When two groups already see each other as enemies, something even stranger occurs in the brain. The other side stops registering as people with feelings and thoughts. The brain quiets down in the exact areas that normally light up when we think about another person's mind. In other words, the more we see someone as other, the less our brain treats them as fully human. That sounds bleak. But this is exactly where it gets useful, because once you understand this pattern, you can actually work around it. The first shift is simply noticing that your view has limits. You will never see the entire world firsthand, so it helps to stay curious about what you might be missing, instead of assuming you already have the full picture. The second shift is learning the tricks our minds use to shut people out, so they stop working on you. One common one is what researchers call moral pollution. This is when a group gets linked to something disgusting or shameful, so that anything they say afterward gets ignored before it's even heard. Once you can spot that pattern happening, in the news, in an argument, in your own head, it starts to lose its grip on you. The third shift is one of the most useful, and it's simple. Find the small things you share with someone before you find the big things you disagree on. Picture meeting someone new and discovering you both love the same hiking trail, or the same terrible reality show, or the same breed of dog. Those little shared details build a bond. So later, when you find out you disagree about something serious, it doesn't feel like a wall going up. It feels like, interesting, tell me more, because you're already connected through something else first. That's really the whole point. Nobody is experiencing reality exactly the way you are. Not your closest friend, not your own family, not the person you disagreed with last week. Once you truly get that, arguments start to feel less like a fight to be won, and more like two different maps finally being compared side by side. If this changed how you think about the last disagreement you had, tell me about it in the comments. I'd genuinely like to hear it. And if you want more of the science behind why we think, feel, and connect the way we do, subscribe, because there's a lot more of this coming.